A legal expert is calling President Trump out for going off on a complete crime spree. Raw Story reports President Trump's series of executive actions since returning to the White House last month, from pardons of violent insurrectionists to mass firings of federal law enforcement, fits an alarming pattern of criminality. That's according to former Obama White House ethics counsel Norm Eisen, who told former CNN anchor Jim Acosta on Friday that Trump's latest scandal is the kind of thing that happens in a dictatorship, not a democracy. Quote, "So you had a man that said he was going to be a dictator on day one, and when people assume dictatorial powers, they don't voluntarily give them up," Eisen said on Acosta's Substack show, The Jim Acosta Show. So the dictator on day one thing, I brought it up during the campaign trail because I thought it was relevant to how low the bar is when it comes to the Trump discourse. A lot of people, like conservatives, were defending him and saying, oh, well, he was just joking. He was saying he's going to get a lot done on day one, through executive action. And by doing so much executive action like that, it's going to seem like he's basically as efficient and effective as a dictator would be at getting his agenda done. But realistically, it's like, okay, why should we give him the benefit of the doubt? He never gives anyone else the benefit of the doubt. If one of his opponents said they would be a dictator on day one, he would call them out and say, they promised to be a dictator on day one. They want to be a dictator that's really bad. I'm not a dictator. They're going to be a dictator. So I said, hey, you know what? Let's throw this at him. Say he wants to be a dictator on day one. Like that he unironically wants to essentially be a strongman dictator his first day in office. And who has been a dictator on their first day in office, but not the rest of their days in office? Think about that. During an hour-long interview, Eisen flagged Trump's pardon this week of New York City Mayor Eric Adams, which he characterized as just one example in a string of controversial moves. He also questioned why more focus hasn't been given to the president's pardon of former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. What's going on there, he asked. Quote, "What do you expect when you elect the first criminal president? More criminality? This is a president who we've seen not only pardon these 1,600 violent insurrectionists, including 140 who violently assaulted police. He then took out after law enforcement," Eisen said before launching into the Adams case. Yeah, the Adams thing is pretty interesting because the guy is a Democrat, but he started kind of sucking up to Trump and saying, hey, look, I kind of understand Trump. I'm a victim too. Trump's a victim. I'm a victim. So yeah, this is pretty sketchy. The Eric Adams thing. "It's the same pattern, Jim," he added. "It's the latest scandal of Donald Trump's embrace and support for what can only be called an attack on the rule of law and order in our country. It's outrageous." Yeah, exactly. Eisen continued railing against Trump's presidential blitz by adding that he broke the law in how he fired former internal government watchdogs, and then added to the deluge of ethical concerns by removing the head of the Office of Government Ethics. Yeah, that stuff with the watchdogs, the agencies, the gutting of the agencies, the inspectors general, that was on dubious legal grounds as well. Quote, "There's not really two sides to this presidential crime spree," Eisen told Acosta. "We should call it CROTUS, not POTUS," he quipped, referring to the acronym used for President of the United States. "It's scary, that's the thing about it," Acosta said. "It's just scary." Yeah, so Jim Acosta is a former CNN guy, as this article said, and he was a guy who really went after Trump a lot. He was accused of having TDS a lot. He was a guy who really went hard in the paint. Really hardcore resistance liberal, so it makes sense that he'd have this expert on to talk about it. But yeah, I don't think anything that the expert said here is really false. Normally, when people go super hard against Trump, there are a few things they say that are at least kind of questionable. You can't get a perfect streak of saying things correctly. Sometimes people mischaracterize the facts, but this seems like a good characterization of what was done and how a lot of it is on shaky legal grounds, if not downright criminal. So yeah, we have our first criminal president. It's pretty insane. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, please like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. This has been the Morris the Merrier. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.